Hey everybody, Elisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Um, today I do have to work today, even though it's Saturday, and I do have to run out to the grocery store. But I was super excited about this bag, so I just wanted to share it real quick before I do that. Um, because it just came yesterday and it's my latest custom bag that I did. I haven't really been buying that much new Vera lately, trying to rein it in, but I was planning for this, so I sort of saved for it, and I knew I wanted to do another. People have seen my other videos about my custom bags. I know I do embroidery inside for Duke, and I wanted to do, came up with another idea for that I wanted to try out, and so um, when this pattern came out, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to do that, and so I started saving and planning my embroidery design. And it just came yesterday evening, and I was so excited, so I just wanted to show it, hopefully quickly. It is the Vera Tote, the larger Vera Tote, because that's the only one I ever do, because I'm not crazy about the other styles that they offer in the custom line. It's a big bag, as everybody knows. I just deal with it. And the fabric is the new Big Cat's Meow. That is what the body fabric and the pocket is. And the straps I did in the coordinating custom fabric that they offer, which is Big Cat's Meow Ditsy, which is sort of like an interpretation, I think, of like a leopard print with some flowers thrown in. So when I first saw, well, a couple of things about this pattern. People have watched some of my videos. They know that I'm in this sort of focus group, Vera focus group, and in it they show us patterns every now and then. I don't know exactly how far along those patterns are in the process, the approval process, once they show them to us, whether they're already a done deal and they're just looking for feedback after the fact, or whether it influences what they end up, like releasing. I'm not sure. But they do it in groupings for the signature store, and then groupings of designs for the factory outlet store. They separate them like that because I'm sure people can tell, like, the design aesthetic is very different for the signature store versus the factory outlet store, and you can really tell, especially when you see them all grouped together like that. And this was a while ago now that they showed us in the factory, one of the factory outlet pattern surveys. They showed us a pattern that had big cats in it, but it was very different from this. I don't remember if they were all the same type of cat, like whether they were all leopards or all tigers, or whether it was a mix. But the pattern was laid out very differently, much more grid-like, much more structured, where the cats were all walking like they were like in this position, and I will more of them were basically in this walking kind of position. I'll hold the bag up close. And they were sort of all walking in lines, straight lines, and then the lines, were stacked. The rows of them walking were sort of stacked. And in like the discussion boards afterwards, people were talking about what they thought about the patterns, and there were a lot of people who weren't crazy about that pattern, but I loved it right away. I was drawn to it. Well, like critters, everyone was like critters, but also it reminded me of like Versace in the 80s and the early 90s, because he was, when Johnny Versace was still alive, because he used to make use of that motif of the big cat head, especially in his logo and things like that. And it is a very like Roman, Italian kind of motif. And so I thought, I don't know if Donatella's still making use of that motif in their brand anymore. I don't really follow. I used to buy fashion magazines all the time, but I haven't in years. It's been years now for me. So I'm not sure if they're still really working that cat. But it definitely reminded me of like silk scarves that you would see with the cat motif on it. Very luxe, very high end, fashion. And so I really liked it right away. Plus I like critters. And And then that, you know, it never came out. The pattern never came out, and I was kind of like, oh well, I guess that's not happening. And then I saw this in the custom fabric section when they loaded it up recently. And so it's very different. You know, it's like they really developed the idea a little bit more to make the cats more scattered and in different poses. And I just really love it. The background, it's coming out fairly accurately on the screen. So it is a vivid, rich, like kind of an aqua teal color. But in person, it looks just a touch, I mean, just a subtle shade greener. So it really has this kind of like, there's some areas of the Mediterranean Sea where the water is just this deep, it's not like the Caribbean beautiful watercolor, which is a little bit lighter aqua, probably because the depth of the water, it's shallower in that area of the world. But in the Mediterranean, I think it's a little bit deeper. But there are areas in the Mediterranean where the water is this like brilliant, deep teal, almost emerald kind of color. And this background color reminded me of that immediately. So it's not quite so accurate on the screen. It's a little bit bluer on the screen. Something with the greens on my color calibration must be off. You know, and I don't, to calibrate my screen, God, who knows what that would take. So it is really a beautiful color, and it's not quite as electric as I thought it might be. So it's nice. It's rich, and it's kind of mellow. It's not jarring. In person, if people are a little hesitant because of the color. And taking it up close doesn't make it any greener. It's still just, and it's a very subtle, that difference in that green. It's not, when you get it, you're not going to say, oh, it's very green. It's just a subtle like cast that you can tell that the color has a little bit more green in it than is coming out on the screen. So the trim is denim, and I went back and forth for a while on what I should do with the trim, because they have that microfiber trim. I think the color might be Caneel Blue. There are two like very similar teal kind of or blue kind of color microfiber trims in the custom section right now. And one of them matched really well to the background color, at least on the screen. It looked like it was matching really well, and it looked good. I mocked it up that way. And then, of course, the zipper went teal, and the label went teal, which I liked because that sort of fell away a little bit. So the front looked more, you know, like that, almost, just because there was nothing really breaking up. You didn't get this, breaking up this. But when it was looking a little flat in the mock-up, the whole thing, for some reason. And I had the straps in this contrasting fabric, and they almost just, you couldn't even, they just kind of it all kind of blended together. And so I started playing around with the other colors, and they've done away with indigo or whatever it was, which is usually my go-to microfiber trim on the customs. I was really bummed when they got rid of that, because I do think it's a very versatile color. And so I went to black, and all of a sudden it just sort of kicked up the Asian feel of it a little bit. You know, and you see the beautiful Asian garments, dresses for women, and they have the piping. Just sort of spoke to that, and with that, this motif of the cats and these trees, they have a very sort of Asian feel to them. And so I started to think about it a little bit differently. So moving away from the sort of Italian association that I initially had with it to a more Asian aesthetic. But the black was very intense. You know, you could see right away it was black. It was very dark. And I wasn't sure, you know, not having seen this fabric in person, I wasn't sure how the black elements were, how vivid they were. And so I decided to try the denim, and it just sort of, on the mock-up, just sort of like got a little bit more subdued, but yet still gave that like delineation of the space. and picked up the black elements. That's what really made it for me, is that it was starting to pick up the black elements in the cats and the tree trunks and making them pop more for some reason. The whole thing didn't look flat anymore, and you could see this better. You could see the difference that was going on with the straps better. So I thought about it for a little bit. You know, I wanted to make sure how I felt about it, but that's why I ended up going with the denim. And I was worried about it. I was like, maybe I should have gone with the matching microfiber, and it's the safe bet, you know. But I'm pleased. I'm pleased with what I did. The inside, and I will take everything out, of course, and show the inside. But the inside, I went with the same fabric for the inside. I was thinking about going in on the inside with just the Ditsy, because I know it's a coordinating pair, and I think that would have made a nice concept. That's a nice concept, right? To have a little touch of the lining outside and pick it up on the inside. But I realized, you know, I wasn't really crazy about this fabric and pattern, and because of the black, the leopard, you know, motif, the leopard print motif in there, sort of, it was darker overall. And so it's always nice when you want something brighter. You want brighter fabric. Please don't jump, and please don't do that. Oh my word, what are you doing? Don't chew on that. Did she steal your thing? Okay. We'll get the other one back. You want that? Can have that. Oh my lord. She has a toy. Peaches steals her toy, and then she has nothing to chew on, so she chews on my bedspread. Okay. So the lining, you know, I wanted the lining to be a little bit lighter. It makes the whole thing lighter when you're searching around in your bag. And so I decided to go. And I like the cats, like more animals. So I just went with it. It's my bag, and I'm going with it. So anyway, so I'll just, you know, oh, and before I forget, and so then I was scrolling through my feed on Facebook. And of course, I don't know how this came up. It's like Big Brother is always watching. Because I had stumbled upon this company, I think on Instagram, from an ad in my Instagram feed, and I liked it or something, and then the next thing you know, it's showing up in my Facebook feed. So it is very eerie. You do know Big Brother is watching you and tracking you, and things that you look at on Google all of a sudden show up in your Facebook feed. It's creepy. But this is a company called Print Fresh, and they make pajamas and loungewear. I don't know where they're based. But these prints, these fabric prints that have animals and very beautiful, exotic, lush animal patterns. Unicorns and zebras and big cats. And not only big cats, but big cats with tree motifs. Very Asian looking. You're not going to be able to see a variety of colors. You can see there the leaf motif with the trees, these big cats. These are very Asian looking, these cats. Their fabrics are very pretty. Because I saw them, I thought, well, I'll get some pajama bottoms for myself. And then, I saw this and I was like, why is this, it's all looking familiar. Who's copying who? You realize it's very hard to be original. And there are a couple of other fabrics that Print Fresh is doing that are, like there's one with a unicorn, looks like the unicorn tapestries. People are familiar with those, but yet it also reminds me of like Animal Kingdom, which of course was from way back in the day. So, there's not a copying issue there. But it did make me wonder about Vera Bradley and like, where did they come up with this idea? Why are the cats not in that original grid-like layout that they had shown us in the factory outlet store? Why are they more scattered like this? And then I saw the pajamas and I was like, wow, look at that. They're all scattered and in different positions, which is what you see here. So it's just kind of makes you go, But regardless, both very beautiful fabrics, and I'm so pleased with this. I don't care who came up with it first. But I just thought it was very interesting. So I'm going to show try to get some of the cats up in there really close for people in case they're wondering, because you can't really see it on the website. It gets frustrating. I did feel like I was really taking a chance here, ordering this kind of almost like sight unseen practically. So I was pleased to get at least, one cat sort of centered in there and not cut off. But there is a lot of, bodies being truncated and heads cut off, and it's frustrating. But I knew that was I just had to prepare myself that was going to happen with this kind of pattern. It's unfortunate you can't pick out the fabric yourself, or that maybe they're not being a little bit more careful, because I don't know how they're cutting the fabric for a custom bag. May not all be hand cut, you know, maybe none of it's really hand cut. I don't know. You get up there, you get the tiger under the tree sitting, and you get some what look like leopards or cheetahs and snow leopards. I think that was also why this fabric appealed to me, because my first dog, Lucy, was a cross Dalmatian and Blue Heeler, which is an Australian cattle dog. And she was white with these spots that look like Dalmatian spots and longer fur and sort of a slightly bushy tail. And I had it happen a number of times this is when I still lived in New York City, my hometown. I'd be walking her and we'd get to a corner and the light would change and we'd be sitting there and I'd have her sit. And people would ask me, is that a cat? Is that a dog? If they almost weren't sure. She almost looked a little bit like a snow leopard. And so I think when I saw some of these sort of lighter colored cats in here, it sort of made me think of Lucy a little bit, and it appealed to me for that reason. Love that one with on the tree, you know, stretching up on the tree. I would have liked that in the front, centered somewhere. And the trees are nice, and you can see the black of the tree trunks are not super. It's not a sharp black. It's not a real harsh black. And so the denim, which almost looks gray, you know, it's not a navy denim. It's like sort of like more of a black, and it comes out kind of gray. So it gives enough contrast, but it's not real harsh, just like the tree trunks are not real harsh. It's not a real inky, like pure looking black. It almost is like a dark gray. Like that one with the mouth open. And of course, tigers are, you know, an endangered species, so it's kind of nice to sort of honor them a little bit, make people aware. I just canceled my gym membership because, well, who's going to go? I'm not going to go to the gym now. But even prior to COVID, I was, you know, blowing off the gym, and so it was kind of a waste. And I'm thinking about repurposing that money, that monthly fee, into that. There's always that ad for the World Wildlife. I thought maybe I would do the tiger, help the tigers every month. It's weird, I'm just noticing there's some glue behind this tag that's kind of coming off. That's not good. I can see if you can, I don't know if you can see this. If I show this, you'll be able to see it. This is not good. I mean, it's not anything you're going to be able to see, but you can see that strip in there, like shiny strip. That's like a little bit of glue that I guess is supposed to tack this down, although it is sewn on the ends. But the glue is sort of like pulling off, like a strip of glue. I'm sure if I were to remove this, which I did think about because it's right over this cat, and I'm thinking, I'm not so attached to this. I might remove this. I'll just pull that strip of glue right off. I'm sure it will come right off. Anyway, I never noticed that they do that. So anyway, in here I have all my regular stuff. Oh, this is a nice cat to show up close if I didn't. It's nice gradation in the skin, in the fur color there. From that sort of deeper yellow up top to the white belly. And so, you know, I'll put it on so people can see what this pattern looks like from a distance. And then I'll just pull everything out to show, see if I can turn it inside out to show the embroidery. So it's, you know, your typical humongous Vera. But not a very, like, electric, you know, not too electric. Boogie, oogie, oogie. Excuse me. Crazy moment there. And here's the back. People know that song, they know what I'm talking about. It's electric. Very pleased with it, I really am. You know, humongous bag, but what are you going to do? Okay, so in here I have all my usual stuff. And I did want to go, I feel the tendency to want to put all my regular Cat's Meow stuff in here that I can find, but I was having a fight with my closet. I could not find my Cat's Meow turn lock. It's in there somewhere. I don't have the time to try to fight with my closet to find it. So right now I'm just working with one of my Cat's Meow Carson cell phone crossbodies for my phone, which I do put in one of the slip pockets. It's the same features as a regular Vera. That hidden slip pocket up here, the slip pocket and the zipper pocket on the front that you probably saw, and then the 6 slip pockets inside. And it's a nice weight fabric, so for aligning it's nice. I mean, I'm sure it's the same, fabric. It's all the same fabric, right? So it feels nice on the inside. And even the pockets, it feels like the slip pockets inside are kind of a double layer of the fabric, because both sides of the pocket are the right side of the fabric. So there's 2 pieces of fabric slapped together there for those slip pockets, it feels like, and they have some weight to them. And so I have my my turn lock, best in show, my hand sanitizer, all the stuff from my previous 2 videos. I haven't changed anything because I've been making these videos like 2-3 days straight. What is this again? Tavern on the Green paperback book cover that I just used for notepad right now. For anyone who didn't see the other videos, just protects that pad. And a mini cosmetic pouch in Dragon Fruit Floral for my GPS. My Havana Rose Honor Roll for my pens. Store loyalty cards. It's not Vera. Mini Dome and Fruit Grove for my lip balm and tissues and stuff. Please don't hit my camera. Thank you. I won't need to take this. Travel Takes, like mini jewelry case or something. Can't remember what it was called, for my Easy Pass. Running out of space here. Medium, lighten up medium cosmetic petite vine for my charger cords. And Merry Mischief pouch that came with a Grand Tote, just for some gloves, latex gloves, and the larger in the Cosmetic Trio and Penelope's Garden, larger pouch for my masks, and my various ID cases with photos. So that's that. So you can see that blue still is, it gives you some lightness in there, reflects light. I definitely think this would have darkened it up. And again, like I said, wasn't crazy about it. I felt like, well, I could get more cats. Why wouldn't you get more cats if you could? So in here, and this surprised me. This is my 4th one of these, and on all the others, the patch with the fabric patch that the custom embroidery was done on. Sorry, my dog's creating trouble. Has been sort of like a navy, I don't know if it's microfiber, but it's like a cotton, or a solid navy fabric. But this is the denim fabric. So that was new. I don't know if they're doing that on all the embroidery, because you never get a choice for what kind of fabric or color fabric you want your embroidery on, which in this, I didn't really pay much attention to that until this time when I mocked up my embroidery. I loaded up my file and I did a drawing, along with some numbers. And so, this is the first time I had decided to try to draw something, and rather than just have words. And so I realized, well, it looks it's unfortunate sometimes, if you only can put a drawing on a black background with lighter line work, it looks like a negative, a film negative, sort of reverses and the line work drops out. And it can look weird if what you're drawing is figurative, right? It looks like a person on a negative. It would look weird with white eyes instead of dark eyes. And that's what happened here on the screen. I was frustrated, but I couldn't control it because I could only do a dark background for the embroidery. So I was kind of bummed about it, but it ended up looking okay. Not as bad as I was thinking it was going to look. That would be nice if they gave you that option. I'll try to turn this inside out without ruining the base, without getting the base too out of position. It would be nice if they gave you that option of the fabric color for that embroidery. You know, you want to put your embroidery on. Okay. For people who are wondering, this is made in the USA. The tag does say that. I have washed Vera Totes, a lot of my large Vera Totes, small ones too, and they all go through the laundry fine. I have never washed a custom tote, but I would imagine that they would go through okay. So this, I can't remember the fabric choice. I think I want to say it was like some kind of ocean green or something. I feel like it's sort of a teal kind of color, not the bluer. They had a thread that was a little bit bluer. I didn't go with that one. And so this is just some dates and a drawing that I did of Duke. And so the dates, the top date is a little tough to read. I had a feeling that might happen because it was my writing, my handwriting, and the first numeral and the date, even in my mock-up, I said that doesn't look clear. But I had it all together with the drawing the way that I wanted it. And I didn't really, not really set up here with all my art supplies out. So it would have been very difficult for me to fix it easily. So the top date, which I think is 3/23 there. 3/23/12. The top date is Duke's birth date according to his adoption papers from the shelter that he was originally in, which was in Florida. And then he got moved up to where I am, up north. And then, so I don't know if that birth date is how accurate that is, but I do think he was at some point cared for. I don't think he was a stray. You know, he may have been lost or something and brought in, but at some point he was cared for. And so I don't know. There's a thread on the strap is a little loose there. Should look at my other ones. That's the first time I've ever noticed something like that. Usually I find that the quality on these custom totes is pretty good. I haven't, you know, I've been pleased. I mean, it's a loose thread here, like the strap is sort of pulling a little bit from the body of the bag, and it's not knotted up enough. But once I'm using the bag, that's probably not gonna be an issue unless I let the straps hang down too much, the wrong way. Anyway, so that first date is the birth date off of his paperwork. I don't know if it's exactly accurate. It might have been based on his intake date at the shelter, but the year is probably accurate because the vets tend to have an idea, how old an animal is. Just they know. And then the middle date is the date I adopted him, and then the last date is the day he died. So, but I was kind of, I don't know, intrigued to try to do a drawing. I thought, I wonder if they're going to even let me load that up. Are they going to reject my mock-up, my embroidery, when they see that it's not all letters, it's not all handwriting. But it went through, and it was free. They were offering, which freaked me out. I didn't realize they were offering some kind of free. I realized later at the top of the website there was a banner that was flipping. They do the free shipping banner or whatever their shipping offer is at that time, and then it scrolls away and the next message comes up, and there was a message there about free personalization. And I said, oh, okay, that's why they didn't charge me. I couldn't figure out they weren't charging me for this embroidery, this personal embroidery, and that made me nervous that my order wasn't going to be done correctly. It's not going to give me something for free. And then I realized they were having some kind of, maybe that's still on, that free personalization. I don't know. I lucked out there. And it's on Denim. I feel like his eyes are not as weird looking as they looked when I mocked it up on the screen. But I think that it would have looked better on a lighter piece of fabric with darker thread. Would have looked more normal. So, anyway, so you can see the fabric a little bit more. Hold on, get the strap out of the way. I just think it's a fun, pretty, exotic kind of print. It's an exotic print. You know, it definitely has a kind of Asian, you know, almost Indian Asian kind of look. Glide prints and illustrated manuscripts. You know, I feel like, I don't know, I want to say if they're from Persia. You know, there's those illustrated manuscripts that are so lush. I don't know whether they're from, I don't know if they're from India or Persia, other areas in the Middle East. People might know what I'm talking about. I'm may not have the it exactly right, but people probably know what I'm talking about. Gorgeous, really gorgeous, and also the Asian, you know, motifs. Very, very pretty. And of course, my Johnny Versace. Sad, still sad to think of that. His death. Okay, let's see if I can not break my bag. And the top zipper on this is a soft plastic zipper, just like the one on the front pocket. At least they do this, you know, the soft. They've always done the soft plastic zippers, it seems like, on these custom totes. And the pleather pull tie. That's the one thing I wish they would update. Seeing as now they're doing the ribbon pull ties, right, on the regular Vera totes. It would be nice if they did that here. Right? I don't like the pleather. Same thing up top as pleather, the zipper pull. And it's a slightly recessed zipper, you know, just slightly. Again, that pocket there. So that's it, my latest. Will probably last for a while because, well, I don't like that other pattern they have up there. That Indiana Rose or whatever variation that was for the healthcare workers originally, I think. Never like that. I can't believe they took down the Foxwoods for that. And a mistake. Especially the Foxwood Menagerie blue. So very pleased with this. I'm going to try not to look at it too hard if I don't want to find any flaws. Like I just found that little piece of thread. I don't want to find anything wrong with it. I want to love it. So I'm going to make a decision to love it. But I really am pleased with it. I'm very pleased with the piping, how the aesthetic of it, that worked out for me. Yeah, I think it would be nice if I were rolling in money. I wouldn't mind doing another one with the piping. That's the microfiber that kind of blends in. I wouldn't mind doing that. But I can only have one, so I can only have one. Anyway, I highly recommend this fabric. I'm very pleased with it. So pleased with it. And I'm very pleased with the way the embroidery came out. That you could do a drawing like that. That's like a whole new option there. A whole new, just think of all the things you could do. Anyway, I hope people found that helpful to maybe get a look at this fabric in case, you know, if they were wondering or considering whether they wanted to do something with this big cat's meow. Like I said, love it. Just love it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.